Welcome back to another Overwatch Coach VOD review. Today we've got a Plat 1 Anna named Confused, and they write, they're a PC Plat 1 support player who plays all the flex supports. Looking for some advice and criticism on my gameplay. I want to get to the mid-diamond by the end of the season. You got a long ways to go in terms of the end of the season, so you should be able to get that. I have about a 60% win rate on Anna, 55 on Kiriko and BAP, so I feel it's very doable. Yeah, assuming that maintains, you'll get there no problem. And that's it. So, description of the match, things you want reviewed, mainly positioning and cooldown management. I feel like I'm not using sleep enough. Thanks for your feedback. Okay, yeah. So, I mean, in terms of the win rates, I mean, unless you just haven't played a lot, yeah, if you're probably starting to tip into the 5 hours per each hero and up, then that win rate means something. If you're under 5 hours per hero that you're referencing a win rate on, then that doesn't really mean much. So, and obviously the more time on that hero while maintaining that kind of a win rate, the more that win rate means something. But you know, if you've got like 2 hours on a hero and you've got like an 80 win rate, well, whoop-de-doo. You know what I mean? But you know, you put like 30, 40 hours on a hero and you've got like a 70 win rate on them or something like that. That means something. That means you know what you're doing on that hero. So, just to put the win rate thing into context. But anyway, so yeah, Anna's a good hero to be good at. As long as anti-nades are a thing that doesn't get nerfed into the ground or anything like that, Anna should always be a fairly meta support to be good at. And because of what I just said about the anti-nade, that also means Kiriko should also be a fairly meta support. And you reference that you play her a fair bit too, which is good. Those are both good supports to be good at. Baptiste has always kind of been sort of meta, sort of not meta. I never really viewed him as a bad support to be, but I always felt like his healing takes a little bit of a unique kind of a skill shot to it that could be easier accomplished by some other supports. So the Baptiste has always been kind of like a fringe pick. But if you can land the shots consistently, then by all means, I'm sure you can make it work. The only, I think, other support I would want to throw into that mix is a support that might do some kind of a defensive ultimate. Why is that showing? Anyway, a defensive ultimate might benefit you when there's, let's say, like a dominating Genji or something, or maybe like a soldier who's got free reign on your team, and when he nano visors or visors in general, maybe a Lucio beat drop or a Zenyatta trance might keep that team going a bit longer, or you know, maybe a Ramatra ult or something like that. That would be the only other thing I would throw into that healer pool. But generally speaking, having 3 heroes in your role that you're very comfortable flipping in between, depending on what your team needs. So you're right at that mark. I would just maybe consider throwing like a Lucio or a Zen into that mix. Maybe even Brigitte, especially once she gets her ult reworked. I don't know what her ultimate will be. But I'm hoping it'll be something that kind of falls in line of a defensive ultimate to kind of go into that Zen Lucio type category. Or maybe it'll be the new hero that comes out for support, our next new hero. But something like that might be beneficial to throw into your repertoire as well, just as a suggestion. But let's take a look at your Anna gameplay here and see what we get. So I will say already at the beginning, you're kind of playing a little bit too far back. But yeah, I like this spot here. The only other spot I would probably suggest, and probably where I would have just straight went to, would be maybe playing over, like over here. And then if they start taking pot shots at you, then you can kind of go over here, heal the team. Or you could just start over here too if you wanted to. The only reason I suggest playing over here is you might be able to take a pot shot or two at them when they start poking out down there, while also healing your team. And then you can just kind of go over here for safety. You could always drop down, take high ground up there, as a rotation type of a thing. Playing over here is fine too. It just puts you a little bit closer if the team dives up here. But you play there and then you just rotate over here up into the high ground back there. Both can work. So right now you're not really doing anything. You could have been healing your app.
Slept the target.
Good sleep. Don't let the Mercy res that.
I appreciate the support.
Okay, good. The Mercy retreated. Oh, wait. No, she didn't. So, yeah, one thing, and I get why you might not have, because it does kind of put you in a little bit of a precarious spot staying there. But just something to talk about. When you know there's a Mercy on the enemy team, and you get a pick, and it's somewhere that could potentially be a safe spot to res, it might be advantageous to camp the body for a bit to make sure they don't get a res off. And I did call that when I saw that death. I was like, you might want to stay there and camp that, make sure the Mercy doesn't get the res. I didn't think she would go back up there, though, once I saw that she kind of went back down. But sure enough, she went back there and got the res off. So camping bodies, making sure they don't get reses off. It's just something to keep an eye on. I don't know that you would have been able to keep the Mercy from resing that, though, given that your team is just dying left and right here. But keeping an eye on that, maybe just shooting at the Mercy when she goes up for the res, doing something to just know that there's a reason for a Mercy to go up there, and then punish her if she tries it, kind of a thing. Yeah, so that sleep dart wasn't going to hit anything. You're asking a lot to sleep a Reinhardt anyway, because a lot of times he's just going to have the shield up. But watching this, let's watch this again real quick here. Like, you see it, but by the time you react, the moment's gone. You just weren't really in a great spot to really do anything with that anyway. And really, at this point, your focus should be healing your Cassidy, and then kind of as you're backing up, taking better space to heal, and then just not being so close to the front line. What I would suggest, if you can do it, would be to get up into kind of like right around here, because then if your team starts moving up, you just walk up and then you're sniping them from high ground, sniping your team, sniping the enemy, that kind of a thing. That's what I would be looking for. If you're in a bit of a time crunch, then maybe just playing back over here, maybe you could hop up over here and then hop up over here, or just go around. You could, if your team's kind of not taking too much damage and your BAP is kind of covering it, you might be able to throw a nade, get a good anti off, maybe even get a few pot shots of DPS damage off, and then you could be healing from over here, looking down, like down here, that kind of a thing. That's a little bit further away from frontlining, because you're really close to the front line here as a sniper class. So that I'm not really liking. Good job peeling for your Baptiste. I like that. The nade was good. You were able to both get your Sigma and the anti on the Rhine. So when you're throwing nades at Ryan, you usually want to try to do it when he's not paying attention to you. So like when he started swinging on the Sigma, that's where I would have been looking for either a sleep dart or the anti-nade rather than it going into his shield. I also feel like Kiriko would be valuable to your team because we're seeing your team getting antied a fair bit here already. And counteracting that might be beneficial. That's probably going to fall a little bit more on the Baptiste than you, but just pointing that out there that I am noticing that a lot. Maybe you're seeing it too, but a Kiriko might be a little bit more on the valuable side here. Yeah, good sleep. I was about to say this would have been a good sleep target if you missed it, but you got it. Focus more on the healing though. I'm actually a little surprised you didn't nano your Sigma, but I'm kind of glad you didn't because it is something you were able to kind of out heal the situation a bit. However, I do want to point out though, like who really is your nano target here? It's pretty much gotta be your Sigma. Maybe Cassidy, maybe. If the Hanzo's like really popping off, I suppose you could give it to Hanzo, but honestly, you don't really have a great nano target here, so I'm a little surprised you didn't use it on the Sigma. Excuse me, on the Sigma. Oh, big sleep dart. That was good. Very good. Unfortunate though that you just get picked off right after that. That's the thanks you get for that. But that was a great sleep dart. If you're landing those kind of sleep darts on Genjis when they blade, you might forget what I said about the defensive ultimate thing, because that right there just counteracted something I would have normally, like if I were playing, I would have like just used a Lucio beat drop on or a Zen trance on. So that was good. So that nade felt like you were just kind of heaving up a Hail Mary and just hoping it hits something. I'd like to see these nades kind of a little bit more well placed. Make it look at least a little bit like you're trying to aim at something rather than just trying to hit a broad area. Because that just looked like you kind of just threw it in a hot spot and just hoped that they would just happen to walk into it. I feel like you could have kind of aimed that one a little bit better. I also am going to be looking, I think at this point you want to be looking to use your nano this fight because you've had it for a little while now. Now I get that, I get why you didn't use it in the last couple situations. You died at a time you probably weren't expecting that Cassidy to hit you, and then you were able to out heal the other situation. But at the same token, you don't want to hold ultimates for too long either. So I would be looking to use this ultimate maybe when the Rhine starts pushing up on your Sigma to bolster your front line so that your Sigma can kind of deal with the Reinhardt a little bit better if he gets into trouble. Is what I'm thinking might be the situation going into this next fight. Let's see if I'm right or not.
Eyes on a target.
Also, yeah, okay, so you know the Mercy's up there, or you should if you're paying attention to things. If that Mercy starts revealing herself, I wouldn't mind seeing you take a few scope shots at the Mercy and see if you can get a pick on her. Oh, it actually looks like she dropped down, so maybe never mind on that. Okay, so that nade not well placed. Okay, if you land that nade on the wall, I think you would both heal your Sigma and anti the Rhine. I think they're close enough that if you aim that at the wall, you're hitting both of them, and then you do a 2-for-1, as opposed to aiming it there and just getting your Sigma and not the Rhine. I am a little surprised. That did look fairly close enough that I'm a little surprised that Rhine didn't get antied off of that though. But I feel like if you aiming that at the wall, you get both of them. And also just since I timed this perfectly at this pause, I like that you got your nano confirm on. That's good. I don't have to yell at you for that. So yeah, you use your nano how I would have expected you to use it given how this game has played out. You're bolstering your front line so that the Sigma can kind of deal with an aggressive Reinhardt pushing forward. That's what I would have done under these circumstances as well. So the only thing I would say here is just a little maybe self-analysis on why your aim just turning into a potato right there. I mean, you missed a lot of shots right there. I mean, you went from sleep darting point-blank Genjis while they're blading into missing multiple shots at once. So that, I'm not totally sure what's going on there. Same thing with your nade again. It's like you're just heaving up a prayer and just hoping it hits something. Whereas if you had it right now, you could aim it like in this general vicinity and heal some people. It might even anti the Rhine if you aim it just right. A little bit more focus and care to how you're throwing these nades, as opposed to just being like, well, I'm going to throw it in this spot here and maybe they'll walk into it. You know what I mean? That's kind of the vibe I'm getting from how you're throwing these nades versus how you could be using them.
It's just a scratch. You'll be fine. Over there. Eyes on target.
Yeah, that was a good nade. I'm actually a little surprised that Ryan didn't try to block that, or maybe his reaction was just really slow. But yeah, it worked out nice. Yep, heal him through the window. Good. Look how much that window does to heal boost. That was well done. Well done on both support. Look at, and he did it again. Hopefully nobody wakes him, but great sleeps. Frankly, I wish I could sleep people as well as you do. Sleeping people on Ana is probably my biggest weakness as an Ana player. I'm not the biggest Ana player. That's probably one of my more least played supports. For a couple reasons. One, I used to group with somebody that mained Ana, so I was always the off healer. Back when Ana was like a must-have in Overwatch 1, so Ana was always kind of my least played support. But yeah, I can't sleep people for except for tanks. I can sleep tanks no problem, but I wish I could sleep people as well as you sleep Genjis.
Take this. You are under my guard. I see.
Ooh, you just got that heal off just in time to save Gandalf. He's still Gandalf the Grey because of you right there.
Enemy in sight.
Okay, so, alright. You got that heal off just in time to save him from the Cassidy grenade, which was good, but a little bit more awareness to knowing that, okay, he just ate that nade and he's going to need more healing. Yeah, you kept him alive, but you left him there at 1 HP and you weren't focused on healing him after that. That goes on you and the Baptiste. I'd probably like to see that a little bit more coming from the Baptiste than you. But out of both of you, this is kind of falls on both of you here. I would have liked to have seen more attention to that Cassidy there, because that Cassidy death right here could have been prevented. Also, you didn't need to use your nade to heal you right there either. Just do the spam I need healing thing, and that Baptiste would have gotten you. Save your abilities for when you really need them, as opposed to, you know, that felt like a frustration self-heal nade to me. Like you're getting frustrated at your Baptiste, maybe. Or maybe I'm just reading into it. Oh, wow. Oh, okay, damage boosted Cassidy doesn't miss a shot on you. Yeah, that's rough. And this is where Mercy gets her value. You know, when Mercy pockets a DPS that has that kind of aim, and they can land 2 quick shots on a support who's kind of not paying attention, or loses lack of focus real quickly, all of a sudden it turns the whole tide right there. So for you Mercy players, that's a good example on the other side of the spectrum of what can happen when you're pocketing the right DPS and they pop off. So the way you've been throwing your nades, where you kind of just throw it into a hot spot and you hope that somebody walks into it, that's kind of what I would have liked to have seen out of your sleep dart right here. Like right there. Like, shoot a sleep dart into that. You're going to hit something, I would think. I mean, odds are you're hitting something if you throw your sleep dart into that. Unless the Rhine puts a shield up or something and he ends up eating it. But I'm a little surprised you don't throw a sleep dart into that.
You're powered up. Get in there. I'll keep you up.
So, okay. For your nano, in a case like this, I don't nano the Sigma here. I nano the Cassidy, and all right. So let's watch this again here. Let's get all the way back. Okay. Wait a minute. Who is over here? Oh, that's Baptiste. That's over there. Okay. All right. So in that case, all right. This is what I'm seeing when I see this. So before, when I said nano the Sigma to bolster your front line, that was with like basically your whole team kind of fighting, but you're trying to prevent them from getting the point. So your Sigma's got double heals. He's right there, but he's in a rough spot, although he could jump up and be fine, theoretically speaking, if nobody's capable of getting up there, which it doesn't actually look like is the case. So technically, the Baptiste being there and then dying is kind of on him. But what I'm seeing is this. You nano Baptiste. I thought that was Cassidy at first, but you nano Baptiste, and then you focus all your healing on Sigma. So then the Baptiste can kind of turn into a bit of a pseudo DPS, and he's got armor from the nano. You know, he's taking less damage, that kind of a thing is what I mean by that. Not literal armor, but he's, you know, got damage reduction and all that. And then you might be able to turn the tide, especially if you can land a good anti-off on these guys. So then you just focus on healing. You turn him into a pseudo DPS for a little bit. Hopefully he goes that direction with it and doesn't just start healing the Sigma as he's nanoed. But that's how you turn the tide of this, in my opinion. And then if the Rhine starts swinging into the Sigma and you do hold your sleep dart like you have done, as opposed to doing what I suggested, then you might be able to land your sleep dart on the swinging Reinhardt. And if the Sigma doesn't wake him up or the Baptiste doesn't wake him up, now all of a sudden you've got a stunned Reinhardt, and suddenly it's a 3 versus 4. So that's kind of what I'm seeing here. And a different perspective of how you could have handled this. And why did that not clear? Get rid of that. Because, yeah, that Baptiste doesn't die there to that Cassidy grenade. If he's nanoed, he'll probably need like a little touch-up heal off of you or something like that. But you've got 12 shots. You know, 1 to him if he's nanoed after eating a Cassidy grenade. And then he's good to go. And then you just refocus back on the Sigma or the Hanzo and keep them being strong. And then the Baptiste and the Hanzo and the Sigma just do a bunch of damage and do whatever it is they can do given the circumstances. That's kind of where I would suggest for this. Nice. So, okay, it ended up working out. So at this point, regain your high ground if that's the spot you want. Otherwise, if you don't want that high ground spot you've been at, then what I would do is maybe focus on standing here or back in that vicinity. You could also consider looking to maybe stand here and sleep darting anybody that comes this way, because there is somebody over there. But you know, considering what the time limit is, you're probably going to get an easy sleep target. Standing here might not actually be that bad either, because they might just come from here and you might be able to land an easy sleep that way too, actually, now that I think about it. But
Watch here.
10 seconds. Their time is short. Hold strong.
What is that melody? Dragon consume you!
So yeah, I definitely would have held on to that nade for a little while longer, especially now that the Sigma's ulting. Held it for maybe after that, and then see what's available to you to nade, either while the Reinhardt is up in the air, or when people land, you might just be able to finish somebody off. Say, for example, that Reaper doesn't die in the air. I get that he did, but say he doesn't die, you might have been able to nade him and finish him off. That kind of thing. Yeah, just focus on healing right now. Now, yep, try to prevent the res. Unfortunate you couldn't. So, yeah, I feel like a little bit more focus on looking for a good sleep opportunity there would have been beneficial. You kind of did it late, in my opinion. As soon as you saw that Rhine swinging away, that's where I would have looked to have slept that Rhine. And that maybe not necessarily waited for him to do the hammer down first. Just my suggestion on that one. Good anti. Try to heal your tank here. Heal your tank. Heal your tank. Heal your tank. His tank is dead. Yeah, more focus on healing there would have been good. I would have just tried to maybe use the bridge.
30 seconds remaining.
Had to keep your front line a little bit more aggressive and tankier. You're probably going to want to look at nanoing or Rissa here. Yep. Good heal priority, getting your support backed up first. Okay, good kill.
3, 2, 1. Attackers incoming. Defend objective A. Enough whining. You're fine.
So I think this team comp right here is really going to test out your aim. Hitting Junker Queen, I feel like, is probably the most difficult tank to hit in the game right now. And then on top of that is Junkrat, obviously not that difficult. Hanzo is kind of in the moderate area, but yeah, this is gonna test out your aim, in my opinion. We're gonna see what your aim is made out of here. So again with the nades, I don't know what you're doing here. So while you're doing this, your Hanzo's dying and not getting healed. I don't know if that's like a Kefri nade spot that you picked up in a stream or something, where it's like one of those crazy nades that lands somewhere that often hits like key spots that the defense is hiding at or something, or what that was. But I'm noticing you have a bad habit of throwing your nades in hot spots and just hoping that they're going to hit something. And that can be an okay thing to do once in a while, but you're doing it a lot. Okay, so inability to hit your Junkrat there cost you. Take a little bit longer for your team to regroup here.
I've got you. Over there.
Unfortunate you couldn't land the sleep on that, but yeah, that Cassidy needs to get shot at. The Cassidy is going to be a problem. I feel like going Kiriko here might help in that circumstance, because if your team's pushed up, you can teleport to them and kind of play a little bit more on the closer side of things, and then not get sniped by the Cassidy while you kind of get into that moderate range where he can just shoot at you, considering your team's not doing anything to help you in that regard. Although somebody's already playing Kiriko. So in that case, maybe Zen or Lucio might be a little bit more on the beneficial side. Zen, because he can heal from such a distance, and then just lobbing orbs at the Cassidy to kind of keep him respecting you a little bit. Or the Lucio, because you can just wall and speed and, you know, kind of be difficult to hit, and then just get to kind of where the rest of your team's already shooting at and kind of get out of his line of sight and that kind of a thing. And then you might be able to speed your team in a little bit too, since the Kiriko is taken. But it would be nice to just seeing your team kind of dealing with the Cassidy a little bit here. Cassidy right now is kind of their hard carry at the moment. See, he just got another pick. And now he's shooting at you, and he's taking a lot of your space away, because now he's picking at you, and now you're kind of worried about him. And here's the thing, right? Like, the Orisa doesn't do anything for that. A dive tank like a Winston or a Diva might help in that regard. And they've got and if they were doing that, they would get enough healing to make something like that work. You'd be able to heal them until they get up there, and then the Kiriko would have to kind of, you know, take over the healing on the tank once you kind of lose the line of sight of them as an Ana. But this team comp's not doing a lot to help an Ana heal their team in this kind of a push. So it depends on how you want to look at this. Do you want to look at it in a sense where it's like the team's not doing much to help you play Ana? Or is it more you're not helping them push given what they're running? You look at that one of two ways, and it's all a matter of perspective. And this is a lot of times where Overwatch teams start fighting and bickering with each other, because the Ana might not be enabling them to their strengths, but they're not doing anything for the Ana to play comfortably on the push. So, you know, think of that however you want to think of it, but that's what I'm seeing here. See, like even here, you're trying to heal and keep this Orisa going, but again, nobody's shooting at this Cassidy, and now he's trying to pick at them through these grates in this train car. And I'll be honest, this is the first time I've ever actually seen anybody do this. But it's interesting to me that this Cassidy can find every little angle imaginable to pick away at these supports, and your team's just not doing anything about it. And this to me as a support, this irritates me, because this is the kind of thing that gets me irritated at my teammates. And if I'm having a rough day, if I had a long day, a rough day, or if I'm starting to lose games and all of a sudden I get this happening to me, I might get a little ragey at my teammates because they're just not doing anything about it. So yeah, this is frustrating to watch as a fellow support player on two different levels. One, because your team's just completely ignoring one of the most obvious problems going on right now. But to add another layer to that, you're also not doing anything about it either, because I'd almost like to see you at this point swap to maybe try to counteract this a little bit. I feel like a Lucio or a Zen might play a little bit into this, because the Zen you can still heal a bit while also shooting at the Cassidy, or Lucio just getting out of his line of sight and pushing people forward.
Keep fighting. 60 seconds. Let the Kitsune guide you. I'm under attack. Enemy in sight.
Tactical visor out.
So remember what I said about the aim on your team comp kind of testing your aim there. Yeah, that missing all those shots and then just frankly giving up on healing your Hanzo. Not good. If you see somebody low, you got to get the heals on them, unless the other healer is going to finish the job for you. But don't just take a couple shots and then forget about him. Like, you got to get him healed, because he's dead. Where, you know, you're gonna miss shots here and there, but you got to get your aim a little bit better. At least one. I'd have liked to have seen at least one of those shots hit the Hanzo. But on top of that, I would have liked to have seen you not just completely forget about him after missing 2 shots.
You're welcome.
And I feel like I'm sensing like either a panic or a frustration at this point out of like your movement and your aim. And I get that because it's been kind of rough watching some of this. But okay, looks like the soldier kind of hard carried all of a sudden. And I wish I would have paid a little bit more attention to what he was doing to kind of comment on that. But yeah. Alright, so the soldier kept this game going. Let's see what we get out of this.
Careful.
Not sure why more people aren't moving up right now. I like what the May's doing, but I don't know why the soldier isn't up there with them. Or at least trying to cover them a little bit. You're gonna have to get your May out of there. She's too far up now. Keep healing your May. Keep healing your May. Yeah, so you saw your May playing too far forward and then also moving up, and then all of a sudden you saw your soldier low and you decided to heal the soldier. The problem with that is that the soldier was playing in a safer spot and also possesses self-heal, plus the Kiriko's there. Worry more about healing your front line versus the back line, and the May should have been your healing priority there as opposed to being like, oh, soldier who's super far back needs heals, when all he's really up against at the moment is a Reinhardt and a Reaper who are very far away from him. Unless the Cassidy somewhere that I can't currently see, but I don't think he is.
Happy to assist.
But either way, I would have liked to have seen you focusing more on the May there. Good sleep. Cancel the res. That's good. Careful. Yeah, so as soon as you hit the sleep on the Mercy, just full retreat because of that Reaper. Cancel the res and get out basically is all you can really do there. And I'm not totally sure you would have been able to get out. You probably theoretically could have, though. If you and the Kiriko were on the same page, you guys probably could have just co-healed each other just back and forth and did a full retreat and just kept each other alive there, as long as your aim was consistent enough to hit the Kiriko. But that would have been the right play after the sleep, because I would have agreed with going for the sleep on the Mercy, which you hit, which is good.
Over there.
But try not to frontline as an Ana. So once you got that sleep off, you know, just get out. So yeah, now nice. You were able to finish off the Mercy. Now just keep your Rhine aggressive. Good nade. I would have liked to have seen your Kiriko stay with your team as opposed to following your tracks there. I'm not really sure why your Kiriko did that. Heal your Rhine. Okay, good sleep.
You just needed a push.
I was gonna say, maybe consider waking him up with the nade, although he might have been able to wraith out of that, but yeah, that what happened there, that's good.
Healing you.
I would have liked to have seen one of either you or Kiriko healing while the team pushes up there. You don't necessarily need both supports pushing the cart. Probably more on the Kiriko side of things than the Ana, but if I'm playing the hero that should be pushing the cart, but the other support is also pushing the cart, then I'm just going to move up and do what needs to be done. Because what needs to be done is one support should be supporting the team while they're kind of pushing up and pushing the team back. Because this should just have one support on the cart and then 4 people being aggressive to the other team while the cart moves freely. And that's why the Rhine died there, because the Kiriko isn't moved up with them. So if the Kiriko says, hey, I'm going to be the one pushing the cart, even though it really shouldn't be, just move up with your team and just deal with it. Because that at that point is the correct move. Somebody's got to help that team push up. So if it's not going to be Kiriko, it might as well be you. Because yeah, now they took all the ground back and they prevented you guys from taking the point. So and because of the time, you guys aren't going to get another crack at this, and now you lose. So that decision there,
One of these days,
even though it wasn't normally your move to make, you gotta have that in-game awareness to be like, okay, if Kiriko's going to stay on the cart, heal your team. So number one, the heal nades. We talked about it as we saw it, but your placement, try to put a little bit more care and effort and aim into where you're throwing those heal nades. Two is your, is your aim. Your aim gets a little crazy or a little funky at times. My two sucks. My drawing sucks all of a sudden. There we go. That's a better two. But anyway, your aim got very spotty at times. And I think a little self-reflection there will do you good. Is it that you're frustrated? You're getting frazzled? I don't know. It's inconsistent aim because your sleep dart aim is, I would say, pretty close to impeccable. So I would have expected some of your aim on healing other heroes to be better, like those couple missed shots on the Hanzo and on the attack round, for example. So I don't know. I don't know if it's something in your head, getting like a frustration thing, or what it is. I'm not really sure, but something with your aim is inconsistent. That is going to require a little bit of a self-reflection, I feel like. And then number three, trying to think, what would be a good third option for you? I don't know. I didn't really see anything super bad about your positioning. Maybe just looking for, shoot, hit the wrong button. I'm going to say sleep opportunities. It's going to say sleep up. There were a couple times I noticed you might have been able to look for some decent sleep opportunities to maybe change a fight situation, like second point defense. I pointed out a couple spots. Maybe that would have been, it's a little bit of a weaker point, but I think it does hold up considering what we saw in this one. Yeah, just maybe reconsider some of your sleep opportunities. And again, that's something we pointed out as we saw it. So I'd say though, out of what I saw out of this game, that would be the three biggest things that I saw. But I do want to compliment you though on your sleep darts. I thought those were pretty impeccable, especially for somebody in Plat. Yeah, I'd say kudos to that. So I hope that was helpful. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll catch you on the next one.